As a teenager, all I wanted was to be able to wear oversized, baggy clothes like the girls on my Instagram feed, but I always felt slightly ridiculous and couldn't really explain why. After spending a few years learning about body types and why certain items of clothing suit some people more than others, I've realized the secret is in narrowness. I have particularly narrow shoulders. Now I don't see that as something that limits me, but having the understanding of that can elevate all of my outfits. My name is Ellie-Jean, I'm a style consultant, and on this channel, we find our style by finding ourselves. How do you know if you have narrow shoulders? I feel like the biggest key to if you have narrow shoulders or not is, do you regularly find that tops, dresses, jackets fall off your shoulders? You really struggle to find something that fits, or when you try on a top, the straps are so low, it's actually almost like below your boobs. Like you're having a slippage situation. Because that's something I suffer with a lot. That can be one indicator that you just struggle to get things to fit. Another is that your shoulders are the most narrow point of your body. Your shoulders guide the rest of your frame, which is why your shoulders are really important in deciding where you fall on the scale of width. Shoulders are of course one part of the equation, but usually quite an important one. So in the body matrix, width is the first thing we look at, whether you're wide, medium, or narrow. Those who are narrow tend to have narrow shoulders and kind of narrow bones as opposed to kind of blunt angular bones. So they'll have this kind of light feel to their bone structure no matter their weight. And this could then mean that they have either a rectangle body shape, an hourglass body shape, an apple body shape, a pear body shape. It just shows how those fruit shapes are kind of redundant. As a content creator, it's really important that my fashion photos look amazing, which is why I have been on a mission to learn about fashion photography this summer using Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community with thousands of classes where you can learn pretty much anything you want. If you follow my channel, there are loads of classes on color theory, personal styling, fashion theories, and systems. It's honestly a goldmine for achieving any goal you could possibly want. They've recently introduced loads of really cool new classes on AI, and their learning paths where they curate classes from various courses to help you achieve a specific goal are so innovative and honestly really creative and exciting. Skillshare is becoming even more personalized by providing you with recommendations tailored to your goals. If you are interested, the first 500 people to click the link in my description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Go and check it out. And the third indicator is that when you look at your shoulders, the outermost point of your shoulder, so this is mine, isn't at a very extreme angle. So if you had width, your outermost point would have an angle like that, whereas mine is almost vertical. So what are the best lines for narrowness? Your width affects certain things of an outfit more than others. Specifically, your necklines, sleeves, hems, and legs, so like a trouser leg, the fabric weight, shoe or jewellery weight or width. So rule 1 is close or closed necklines. And by close, I mean close to the neckline. So some examples of this include turtlenecks, crew necks, halter necks, and collared necklines. If you wanted to wear something like a round neck, you would want the placement of the straps to be reasonably close to the neck as opposed to close to the edge of your shoulder. Narrow straps. So again, if you wanted to wear a strappy camisole rather than something with really heavy straps, you'd want something with light, narrow straps. Rule 3, cinched sleeves. Cinched is quite a good keyword for narrowness. So for example, a puffed sleeve, as long as it wasn't overly voluminous, would be quite a good example of a cinched sleeve. Fitted sleeves that are close to the skin, as opposed to loose and billowy, are also best. If you are enjoying this video, you should check out my book, How to Dress Your Best. Section 2, which is all about how to find the things that work for you and your features, goes into the body matrix in great depth. So if you want to learn more about this system, this book will help you do so. The link to pre-order is in the description. I would so appreciate if you went and did that. Let me know in the comments if you've pre-ordered. I would really appreciate it. Tapered cuffs. So when you're looking at a pair of trousers, as opposed to being flared, wide, loose, fitted at the bottom of the item, is going to echo the narrowness in your shoulders and therefore not overwhelm your silhouette. So something like a pair of skinny jeans, a pair of cigarette pants, or even a pair of harem pants, which are cinched at the bottom even though they're quite billowy. I also feel though this can be played with. Something like a bootleg where it's really tight around the knee, you can then have a little bit of looseness at the bottom. So it depends, these rules are there to guide and be broken a little bit. Which brings me to fitted hems, so fitted skirts essentially. So the most obvious example of this is the pencil skirt shape, but you can do this at various lengths, whether it's at your knee, kind of like mini skirts that are quite fitted are also like fitted hems. An A-line, for instance, would not be a fitted hem. Something like a maxi skirt, which is more of like a straight line, as opposed to a loose, flowy A-line shape, would also be better. A good way to think of it is it goes inwards rather than outwards. Thin jewellery, so thin rings, thin chains, thin earrings, thin, light weights. Anything chunky in your jewellery is going to feel slightly overwhelming against your more narrow bone structure. So if you think about jewellery, all of those words I use are just alternatives of saying narrow. So narrow rings, narrow earrings. Pointed toes on your shoes. Now this doesn't have to mean a typical pointed toe which is really sharp. It can even have like a round toe, but it will go inwards rather than being blocky and blunt. And similarly, light shoes over heavy shoes. Remember what we were saying about jewellery, about it being thin and light? The same applies to shoes. So as opposed to a chunky pair of boots with a thick sole, you'd want something with a thin sole and generally feels light and delicate. So here are some key words that you can use when shopping for things that suit narrowness. Narrow, cinched, fitted, tapered, thin, pointed, light and delicate. If you want to find some celeb inspiration who are narrow, you can check out my Pinterest boards on different body matrix types, the link is below. But I thought we would look at some outfit examples of people who have narrowness to see why they work for them and also see how this can work in practice by even breaking a couple of these rules. So this first one is Natalie Portman. She is narrow, short and straight. Now you would think perhaps that a cape is wide, and it is, but she's balanced that with a very close neckline, so she's not got a loose flowy neckline. The fabric is structured, which echoes the straight lines in her frame. She also has this collar on top of the cape, so it's not just a cape, it's also collared, so it brings further narrow lines near the face. And she's paired that with skinny jeans, so she's continued that narrow story with a tapered leg, and also the shoes are pointed as well. Outfit 2 is Katherine Heigl, who is narrow, long and round. You can see in this dress that she does have an off shoulder, so that is technically a wide neckline, but you can see that she balances this out by bringing that strap line up onto her shoulder to bring it a little bit closer to her neck. And this does give the impression that the dress is falling off her, which is a certain kind of aesthetic that she's going for here. It looks a little bit like it's going to fall, and that's continued through the draped fabric, but you can see everything else in the dress is fitted at the waist to echo her curve. It's also fitted around the knee, and it's not particularly flared at the ankle. So the overall dress has a column-like shape, which echoes her narrowness. Number 3 is Jayma Mays. I think I'm saying that right. She is narrow, medium, medium, although she falls between medium and short. And in this dress, you can see she has that closed, narrow neckline, which really makes her features pop. And she also has the narrow skirt and overall that column shape again, and I think this is stunning. No notes! She also has quite a narrow bag as well, which is quite light and delicate. So this is examples of how you can bring in these rules into actual outfits. Hopefully this has shown you how your narrowness can be a superpower, and it's absolutely something that can be taken advantage of. If you're interested in learning more about the body matrix, make sure to check out this playlist all about the body matrix. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.